Hello and welcome to the Stacking to Win It podcast. I'm Big Italy 42 here talking about some top stacks, some value stacks, courtesy of at Zach Scott Moxie on Twitter, one of our NFL contributors. So go ahead and check him out on Twitter and check out these plays he's got. Starting off with the top stack number one, the Bengals at the Bills. Team total just under 24 points. And as Zach puts it here, he never thought there would be a point in his life where the top stack would be an Andy Dalton team against a Rex Ryan defense. But that day has come, or I guess that weekend has come. And Dalton has been tremendous. Fifth best passing attack in the NFL for the Bengals. Dalton over 1,500 yards and 11 touchdowns in 5 games. He's got him paired up with Green and or Eifert here. Green's averaging 99 receiving yards a game on 6 catches. Eifert has 5 touchdown catches on the season. And the Bills provide a great matchup here. 24th in passing yards allowed, and at 274 and 21 points per game. So this is certainly a very exploitable defense and an offense that's really rolling right now. So that is a great stack here. Next up, the Texans at the Jaguars, and just a 22.8 point total, but I'm on board with this play. I have been waffling back and forth on how many Texans to have in my cash games this week, actually. This is the Jaguars team that is 31st in points allowed per game at 29, 363 total yards per game. And the big two here, Foster and Hopkins, are the guys you want to target here. Brian Hoyer also very cheap across sites, and Foster is averaging 7.5 targets in his appearances this year. And Hopkins is looking like he's going to break the single season record. At least he's on target for it with targets per game, averaging 14.8 per game, leading the NFL. Coming into this week, he was also leading the league in receiving. He's now dropped to second since we saw Julio Jones have slightly passed him on Thursday night. But still, this is a great spot there for this Texans team against the Jaguars, even that's really struggling. And Hoyer has been tremendous, 260 yards and 5 touchdowns in 3 appearances. And not even all those were starts. So this is a guy who's been producing even when not seeing the entire game. So that's a great call there. Value stack, Jets against the Redskins. Another team total, doesn't look great, but 23.3 points. And this is a good spot. He's got Ryan Fitzpatrick with Brandon Marshall and or Eric Decker. Redskins only giving up 216 passing yards per game, but almost all of them going to wideouts. And they're allowing the 8th most fantasy points to wide receivers this year. Marshall is averaging 7.5 catches on 11 targets, 100 yards, and just under 1 score per game. Decker has a score in every game he's played this year and is looking at being fully healthy following the bye week. And none of these guys are really that expensive. Brandon Marshall in the upper middle tier of wide receivers as far as price is considered, but definitely a guy that you can easily fit into your lineups there. And Fitzpatrick not going to cost you much either. Decker, real nice value, under $5,000 on DraftKings, just over $6,000 on FanDuel. Next up, the contrarian stack, and this one's going to be contingent on the status of Steve Smith, of course. He's got Joe Flacco, Steve Smith, Kamar Aiken in there, and 49ers are 30th in passing yards allowed, 299, 28th in points allowed per game with 28. And we're looking at injury concerns, like we said. Saw Steve Smith was back in practice saying he thought he might be able to go, saying he doesn't have a lot of faith that he can play. But we'll see his status. We've seen Steve Smith play through injuries before. And certainly, even if he sits out, that Flacco and Aiken stack could be a nice little value there. Flacco pretty cheap, especially on DraftKings. Aiken cheap on both sides. I mean, Steve Smith would be a tremendous value if he goes. Like I said, it's questionable. He looks like he's on the wrong side of questionable, but even if he sits out, that Aiken and Flacco stack is a nice way to go. And that will wrap things up here for the Stacking to Win It podcast for Week 6. Find us on Twitter at DFCafe. The author of our article here is at Zach Scott Moxie. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We've got lots of great content for NFL, every other sport, and very soon, NBA content as well. So check that out, and we'll see you next time.